Hi, Sandy Phillips here and welcome to the Property Pipeline Pro podcast, a show about online digital marketing, business growth and personal development. This show is designed to give you the solid marketing foundation every property entrepreneur needs to build a strong business from the perspective of online and digital marketing, to feel in control and live a more focused life. Yeah, welcome to the fourth Property Pipeline Pro podcast, which has been created to inspire, motivate and drive the marketing achievements in your property business. My aim is to cover both the technology and psychology, the marketing mindset if you like, which will enable you to personally develop as a natural marketer over time. Now, this is the second part of a two-part podcast which looks at the anatomy and technology of a high-converting, motivated seller website. So if you haven't listened to part one yet, then I'll put the link in the description, so go there and have a listen to that as well. And you can access all of our podcasts through YouTube, Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts. So choose your favourite and don't forget to subscribe and follow so you don't miss any of these information-packed bite-sized marketing pods. So last week I started to cover the design and the makeup of a dedicated, motivated seller website and how you need the page to have immediate impact on the site visitor. And I went through how we do this by having a captivating headline and subtext and a singular call to action, which is just a button that opens a form which the motivated seller can then put their details in and the details of the property. But the most important thing is the page needs to be 100% dedicated to doing the one thing, and that's converting the site visitor into a lead. So we talked about the top of the page last week. We spoke about getting a very captivating headline and the subtext that goes along with that, and also the call to action, so everything is at the top of the page. But what about the rest of the site? Just under that header section, you want to have the sort of information that is going to be very relevant to them as they scroll down the page. So further information and clarification. It needs to be well written and have some decent graphics in there. So to start the rest of the page, the idea is to start with some credibility and building some authority and portraying reputation. So it may be a good idea to start with accreditations. Now I say it might be a good idea because none of this is set in stone. These are the sort of things that we do for our clients. But starting with accreditations may be quite a good idea because it starts building that credibility. And you just need the logos, but they have to be something that you're part of or you're accredited to. So it's things like the National Association of Property Buyers, the Property Ombudsman, or ICO. Having these sort of things in, even if people don't really understand what they are, gives some sort of visual credibility. Then under that, why not introduce yourself and your team? Now you really want to keep this short. This is there to build the site visitor's confidence and also to show you're a serious organisation that can deliver on their promise. But remember, it's not about you. It's about what you can offer the site visitor. In this case, a motivated seller. And then underneath that, you want some short form but informative information. Again, showing the benefits of working with you rather than anybody else. So you have sections where you have some beneficial information. Things like that you pay the legal fees. And tell them a little bit about the service. Don't forget you're providing a very valuable service. Helping people to move fast on a property sale is a very valuable service. So keep on hitting the benefits. And with that in mind, you can remind them in another section the difference between what you do and what estate agents do. And you could do a comparable. It's also a good idea to get a section which talks about how much you would be expected to offer for a property. Now the reason for this is it sets expectation. They will read this. And again, I go into a little bit more detail in the PDF. In fact, I go through everything from the top of the page to the footer, so grab a copy of that. I'll put the link in the description. Sometimes it's easier to get an idea visually. Now the other thing is that all the way down the page, we have the call to action button, which opens the form. And the form gets opened in a pop-up. So when they click a button, the pop-up comes up and they can put their details in and the details of the property. Now this is the only action a site visitor can take. There is literally nothing else. No links, no ads, no sidebar. Remember, this is a page which is 100% dedicated to doing that one thing. Convert the site visitor into a lead. So now let's talk about that form. The ones we use for our clients are just 8 fields. First name, last name, email and phone number at the top. And the last 4 fields are the first line of address, the town or city, the county and the postcode. So there you have their contact details and the address. Now the most important information In the address field is the first and the last. The first line of the address and the postcode. From this, you can find the property and do your due diligence. If it's in your area, you can take a look at it from the outside. If it's not, you have Google Maps, which will give you a good idea of the area, the road, and the position of the house. And with that information, you can do all of your due diligence. But you also have their phone number, so you can give the vendor a call to discuss their situation and ask them for some more info on the property. The form fulfills everything that you need. And as for the technology, you need an autoresponder, so you can automatically respond to their sign up. And the response is simply a return email acknowledging that you've received their information. Now, I can't stress this enough. Do not do this manually. That's when balls get dropped. Automation is always going to be the key, and this is one of the reasons why we use funnels rather than just websites. You can duct tape all this stuff together, but it's just easier having one piece of software that does everything. And when we put this in place for our clients, we link this information to our pipeline software, which tracks motivated sellers throughout the purchasing cycle. It also enables us to automate pre-written emails triggered by the pipeline. So whatever they decide to do, they get the appropriate email communication. And by that I mean if they decide to take you up on your offer, you simply move them in the pipeline. And that will trigger an email which has all the relevant information. And if they decline your offer, again you move them to the offer declined section of the pipeline, and an email will be triggered confirming that your offer was declined, that you understand, and to let you know if their situation changes. And the way we set up the automations is that a further email will go out a few weeks later asking if they've sold the property, and another one 30 to 40 days after that, again asking if they've sold the property, and if not, would they like to pick up where we left off. The follow-up sequence is incredibly important. I can't tell you the amount of properties you'll pick up using a simple follow-up sequence like that. And as I say, don't do this manually. Automate it so the follow-up actually happens. And all that can be done in the background on autopilot. So you don't have to worry about it. So that's it. That's covered the concepts of the motivated seller site, and how to look at the technology as well as the psychology behind that site. I hope you're getting a lot out of these podcasts. And if you like what you hear, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate the support. You can also subscribe and follow on YouTube, Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts. And we also have a Facebook group where you can ask questions, as well as picking up a ton of great content that we put in there. I'll put the link to the Facebook group in the description as well. So thanks for joining me today, and I'll catch up with you again next week.